Okay, so this is our first podcast episode of Say Hey Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
You know what? I should probably do this.
LawyerGreg podcast.
So this is a LawyerGreg podcast. This is our first podcast episode. This is LawyerGreg, Greg McIntyre. I'm here with Rob the Brit, Robert Ashford.
Nice to meet you all. There we go.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do the higher quality recording here. So, again, I'm Lawyer Greg McIntyre. This is Rob the Brit, Robert Ashford. Say hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
So, Robert co-wrote Rockstar Lawyer with me. And we wanted to do, I want to do a podcast. And we're already putting up the Lawyer Life episodes of the podcast. This is going to start ticking at episode 1 of the Lawyer Greg podcast, which is kind of the Rockstar Lawyer experiment, okay? And the Rockstar Lawyer Project or experiment is essentially just simply documenting what I learned from running a small business. I just happen to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And selling professional services, providing professional services. I could be an accountant. I could be a bread maker. I could be running a coffee shop. I could be any entrepreneur out there, any business person out there, man or woman. I happen to have a family and that I'm trying to support and employees. So there's so many similarities to what I'm doing compared to what somebody else is doing. And I love to learn from other people, and this is my effort to also put information out in the universe about what I'm doing and document it. And we wanted to do an introduction show. I'm going to slide this camera over a little bit, Robert. I was amazed today when I learned that, we've got a lot of listens to the podcast that we've started doing and just simply putting the Lawyer Life episodes up there. And I put about a 15-minute talk up there thanking Germany and Japan and the rest of the world. We have a ton of people listening around the world. Highest rate is in Japan right now, second highest in Germany, and the U.S. is actually third listening to what we're doing. So we want to be sensitive to that and just say thank you, world, for listening. That's pretty powerful when you realize that. People are watching and listening all over the world. Mm-hmm. Robert's going to be interviewing me and going back and forth on all these podcasts.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw some questions out there and go back and forth, see what happens, see what we can come up with.
I should spit out my gum. All right,
that'd be a good idea.
All right, let's do it.
So, as we said, this is an introduction. And so the first question will be, who is Lawyer Greg?
Nobody knows. Who is Lawyer Greg?
Who is Lawyer Greg?
I'm Gregory Stephen McIntyre, born January 26, 1975. 1975. In Shelby, North Carolina, which is a small town, medium-sized town. About 45 minutes away from Charlotte, which is a big town, and the largest city in North Carolina, and kind of a banking center of the South. So, I enjoyed growing up in Shelby. I had a small town existence, and love my parents to death. Happy Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day, by the way. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Yeah.
And
it's a different Mother's Day in England.
Gotcha. It's a different Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So it's not Mother's Day today in England.
No.
Okay. No. All right. So you don't love your mothers today in England like we do. So anyway, all right. I was a very good student and very interested. Played sports, a lot of different sports. Loved basketball, baseball, and soccer. Okay. Mm-hmm. Loved to play backyard football and played some when I was younger on a team, but didn't stick with football. I guess football, as the world knows it, I did play that football, right? Soccer, right? A lot.
Right.
But you know, when I was 16, 17 years old, I think I kind of went off the path. I discovered drinking and girls and cars. There's the three combinations
Sounds
of,
familiar.
of of things that can derail you or set you on a different path.
Yeah.
And I did. I committed to that path. I was very passionate about that path, right? You can be passionate about good things or bad things. And I made a lot of relationships. You know, I had a good time doing it, but you know, my studies suffered, right? Because my head wasn't there. So I went to the military, which was a nice place for me to work some of that out,
Yeah.
and get some of that, I guess, young testosterone out, you know, and get some structure to my life.
Well, during all this time, was there always a desire to be a lawyer?
Yes. Yeah, even since I was a kid, since I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be Perry Mason. Because I used to watch the old reruns, the Perry Mason reruns.
Yeah.
And you know, even I remember, you know, being really young, like 4 or 5 years old, watching and wanting to be that guy, that Perry Mason guy
So
that always won.
that early
The
on.
courtroom,
Wow.
yeah, courtroom work. So, you know, I ended up coming out of the military, and I met a young lady who gave me something to straighten up and fly right. A reason to straighten up and fly right, really. I didn't care enough about myself, I don't think, you know. And I had some shit that I needed to work through.
Mhm.
I did. I had some stuff I needed to work through. So I did. I worked through that, and married this young lady, Stephanie, and she has had now 6 of our children, and my whole purpose in life is to support us, you know.
6 kids.
And plus I love to work on the business and grow the business. I love that.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna curse. I'm gonna try not to curse. How about that?
So
Either that or I need to turn the camera off and I'll just do it on the podcast. That's a real question. If we want to not film this and just do it,
yeah.
just do the podcast.
Mhm.
What do you think? I mean, I'm almost just open to just
We
doing
can do.
doing the podcast.
You can run about and
You know what I mean?
yeah. You want to do that?
Kind of do. Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Actually, all right. Just for this one, I'm gonna keep going. I'll do on the next one. I'll do it.
All right, we'll do it on the
So
next
anyway,
one.
so then I went to undergrad. You know, completed my undergrad mostly while I was in the military,
Mhm.
and then started working because we had a young son. I was a computer programmer and liked doing that. Kind of taught myself how to do that when I was very young, then went to work in that industry when I came out of the Navy
Right.
for a few years, and then went to law school, and got my MBA and law degree. And I was in law school with guys who had much stronger undergrads than I did. I mean, I had a really weak undergrad, and I felt like that, right? I felt like the underdog. I still feel like the underdog. I felt like the underdog.
Yeah.
You know, and I had something to prove, a little bit of a chip on my shoulders.
There was some benefits to that.
I think there are tons of benefits to that because it makes you work harder than the next guy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I mean, it's called, you know, the power of broke,
Mhm.
and that's a big deal. That's
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot you can do there. There's a lot you can get more creative and work harder and differently, and you know, I felt like the underdog, and I was, and then you know, graduated from law school, became a lawyer, and still feel like the underdog, and trying to create something great.
Right.
So, and I want to document that process. That's what this is about.
How long have you been doing it?
Practicing law,
Yeah.
I graduated in 2005.
Okay. So about 12 years or
About
so.
12 years.
Approximately. So what is the whole point of this with regards to the subject we're on, LawyerGreg, what is the purpose of the LawyerGreg website?
The
What are we talking
LawyerGreg.com,
about?
LawyerGreg.com.
Yeah.
So LawyerGreg.com has tons of information. It has different shows. My wife and I will do a show called Speaker of the House, and we talk about issues that involve married couples and being a professional. So, that creates a lot of problems and issues that you deal with, and stress and everything else. That how do you deal with that? How do you stay married? How do you stay happy and still run a business and not get divorced? I mean, everybody it seems gets divorced now.
Especially with lawyers, there's a high stress job.
It is. There's a high divorce rate. There's a high suicide rate. There's a high substance abuse rate, right? An addiction rate. So in any stressful job, I guess that would go up.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't want to fall victim to that. And
But this site isn't just to help lawyers.
I'll say this:
right?
I have fallen victim to every one of those things in the past. Okay, and I refuse to fall victim, or I try to not fall victim to them now. How about that?
Right.
And I want to be a great husband, a great father, and a great business person, and be as humble, but from a humble standpoint, if that's possible. Can you be great and humble? I think so. I mean, I think
so.
I want to be good at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be good at what I do.
Yeah.
So.
But this site isn't just for lawyers, is it? This is a. It may be called LawyerGreg, but it's a lot more.
I mean, I think lawyers can benefit from it because they can identify really well with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lawyer and I do kind of what they do in a way. But I mean, how much different is that from an accountant or from a hairstylist, right? I mean, you're taking appointments, you're seeing clients, and you have bills to pay, a business to advertise. You want to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're selling widgets, you're selling pens or office supplies or books, right? Rockstar Lawyer, back to that, or you're selling professional services or cutting hair. I mean, it doesn't matter. Or if you're a lawyer in a 500-man firm or person firm, or a solo practitioner by themselves, or if you're a small, and we talk about that in the book, Rockstar Lawyer, being an entrepreneur, working hard, it's your own, running your own business essentially within another shop.
Well, you've mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah.
What is Rockstar?
And I'm not an advocate that everybody needs to be out there running their own business like I'm doing, because it's freaking hard.
Yeah.
And you know what? It might be easier a lot of times to work within a big company, but still be your own person.
Right.
And approach it with a certain energy, discipline, and enthusiasm.
So,
and,
what is Rockstar Lawyer then? What is that?
So Rockstar Lawyer, okay. The idea is not to be cocky or a rock star. Okay, that's not the idea, right? It's simply, so the idea started with just being, how do I put down on paper? How do I start, thinking about this high energy approach and disciplined approach and running a law firm like a business or a business like a business. Most businesses don't run like they should, right? Including mine a lot of times, because you're constantly retooling it, and it's just saying, how can you be a rock star at what you do? How can you be good at what you do, and run it like a business? And so that's the Rockstar Lawyer expression was born there, and Rockstar Lawyer, the book, we wrote. Robert, you remember that, right?
I do remember that.
It took a long time, and it tells you a lot of information from my experience, right? And there's some of your experiences in there as well. And not preaching at people, but just saying, this is what I think right now, and this is what I think could add to your life or add to your business. And I can tell you, I get inspiration from all over the place.
Yeah.
And I certainly look across industry lines to see how things can be done better in my business.
That was one of the things that struck me, was asking the question, which is essentially on the back here, the Abraham Maslow
story of the human race,
is that so many people sell themselves short.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this book really helps to answer some of those issues that people have regarding setting up a business, the mindset that you need, all those kind of things.
Right, because you need to. Well, and that goes into goal setting, which is kind of our next episode.
Yeah.
So do you want to realize that full potential?
Yes.
Do you really want to run a business and provide for yourself and family, and with as little stress as possible? Because when you put in place the tools to run the business properly,
Mm-hmm.
it equals shorter days and less stress.
Right.
Because you're bringing on help and putting in systems. Delegating
Yeah.
to the systems and to the people running the systems.
Because you can't do it all yourself. It doesn't matter how many times you tell yourself you can. You cannot run a really successful business doing everything, right?
No,
I mean you can,
obviously
but
you can.
you're not
can
gonna
never
be as
do that.
successful.
You can
as
never
you-
do that
as you
unless
could.
you delegate and grow.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do, and keep expanding, you got to stretch to grow, right, kind of thing. Almost like your muscles when you're working out.
Yeah.
You got to tear them a little bit so they'll grow and get bigger. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So I enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
With that can come greater risk.
Absolutely.
If you see it or feel it that way, and it takes a while to become comfortable with that.
Getting out the getting out of your comfort zone.
Getting out of your comfort zone. We talk about that a ton in Rockstar Lawyer.
Yeah.
Just about getting out of your comfort zone.
Well, it's so easy to be in a comfort zone and stay there. It's nice and warm and cozy.
Correct.
You don't want to bother taking any risks at that point. But
Well, I mean, yeah.
if you want to grow, you have to.
Sure, and the world is poised to allow you to do that right now at a fraction of the cost that it was in the past, that it cost in the past.
Yeah.
And for anyone, with a dream to accomplish that goal. And I don't mean run your own business necessarily, but certainly to maximize your potential within whatever organization you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Rockstar Lawyer is, and that's why I wanted to write it, is to get those ideas out to the world. And in fact, you coming in on it is part of the approach of delegation, right? Of getting it done quicker.
Right.
Because me trying to do this myself would have taken me, I'd probably still be working on it,
Probably.
Yeah, and I kind of am. We're getting ready to publish the audio book.
We're almost.
Which is done. We just haven't listened to the finished
The
version.
physical book is done.
Right.
The e-book is done. It's just the audio has held us up a little bit in certain respects.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of the book,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I am.
and it's definitely a straightforward, no BS,
Mm-hmm.
straight from the head, straight from the mind type of to your ears type of book, right?
Yeah.
And it's written and read that way with the audiobook. There are several different versions of the book.
Yeah.
And we can get into that, but that's what Rockstar Lawyer is it's the mindset of we want to try to be the best that we can at what we do
Yeah.
and maximize our potential. Really, I think you're betraying yourself if you don't do that.
Now
You don't try to do that.
You have basically answered this question, but why are you doing this?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. All right, so one, I'll say, so it started out, I wanted to just be a lawyer. But here's the thing. I didn't know what being a lawyer meant. And nobody really does until you get into that profession and you really start doing it.
Right.
And you don't learn you're not taught it in school, right? And there's a lot about the legal field that I enjoy. There's a lot that I absolutely loathe, okay? Hate. Really. And but you don't find that out up front. You know, you have to really dig, peel back the layers of the onion a bit and do it for a while before you find that out. And so there's that, okay?
Yeah.
And also, and really talking about that. I mean, it's very cathartic, you know, to get it out and talk about it, to be honest with you. And so that's a little bit selfish there. Also, I want to support my family, and I really mean that. I mean, I want to. So with my practice, that was the whole thing. That's my day job, and to support my family, and I want to grow it and learn as much as I can about the law and creatively use it with new strategies to help people. Okay, and helping people feels good, right?
Yeah.
In the from the beginning and the outset, I want to help people. I want to help my family. I want to help other families. Okay, and then so Rockstar Lawyer, you know, and the LawyerGreg podcast and all that is just a logical extension of that. It's let's document it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about other people's adventures and journeys. I haven't made it. I'm not what I would call successful at all.
It depends how you define success.
Yeah, that's true. I'm hard on myself too. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And gratitude and those things.
Right.
Right. So I want to stay extremely humble, and but this is an attempt to get, I guess, out of my head exactly what I'm going through on a regular basis, and put it down. Like this is the culmination of a lot of work, you know, over time and learned experiences. And I'd love to help someone else do it the right way. Plus in the legal profession, and I think in a lot of professions, they're slow to change. So I'd like to be a voice for change.
I mean, people don't like change in general. Well, they fear change, maybe.
Right.
Maybe would be a better way of putting it.
I'd like to move the center. So, you know, if I'm the one that's doing things differently, you know, and people are like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, they're pointing at me and yelling, you know, I want to get out of that. Just totally put out information direct to the public, you know, direct to the universe, and then the ones that want to follow, and not just follow me, but the ones who want to say, hey, what's Greg doing over there? They can come over and check it out. Some of them are going to like it. Some of them aren't, you know.
Right.
And then, but the people that will start to surround me will become my folks, you know. They'll become the people who are interested in, and as much as I talk about, you know, high levels of action, right, high levels of energy, really, I think in the end it results in less chaos, more rest, more family time, because like I said, you are, you know, building that business, and you know, up front it's going to take a lot of energy, even if you're within a big company, because you gotta, just like a rocket going to Mars, man, you gotta break out of the atmosphere and burn up like 90% of that fuel just getting off the earth.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm so tempted at the moment to start talking about goals, because it just seems like a natural avenue in. But
Sure.
We'll
So I just want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the problems with running a business. I want to talk about solutions.
And that is a big one though. Problems with running a business. So many businesses fail.
They do. And even if you're working within a company, you know, do you want to be average, or do you want to, you know, do you want to work to the top? Do you want to be the one that stands out?
Right.
And I always did. I always do. Which is a double-edged sword, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But anybody who
you
really
can end
affects change sticks their neck out, right? And they're either successful or they get their head chopped off, right?
Right. But then also, if you have set some, what would be looked upon by some people as a ridiculous goal.
Oh man. Yeah.
And then you've got to try and achieve it. If you don't, most people will just quit at that point. They won't want to put themselves through it. They won't want to go through any, I don't know what you'd call it. If you call it shaming by the public or friends or family.
Oh, they're scared to fail.
Yeah.
Right, or they're scared to like what somebody's going to say about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people will quit when they've first failed. That will be it.
that'll be their first and last stop along the failure bus, or whatever. And
which is
right, and I think we're in a kind of a society where you can't fail and you always has to succeed and everything has to be perfect.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of preached to us, and just that's my underlying feeling about our current status in the world right now, how things are going on, but or kind of the pressures. If you could just totally reverse that and do the exact opposite, in my opinion, and I think I'm backed up by every successful person out there in any industry or field, is you fail your way to the top.
Yes.
And failure is actually the key.
That's something we wrote a whole chapter about.
Right, there's a chapter about that in the book. So think about that, helicopter parents.
You gotta fail the shit out of it.
You gotta fail the shit out of things. That's right. Be a kill yourself failure.
Be a kill yourself failure.
Right. It's not funny, but it is. So I mean, short of falling off the cliff because you're determined to climb the mountain without a.
I think it might have been Demings, but I'm not sure. Someone has said you have to double your rate of failure to be successful.
Yeah.
To be a huge.
To be successful, double your rate of failure. What that means is take more risk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And really, it's not failure; it's just learning. What most people view as failure, I would not view as failure.
Right.
I would look at it as a great experience that you can take and the next time immediately keep going and do it twice as fast, learning from those mistakes.
Well, that does bring us back to the mindset.
Right.
Depending on your mindset, some people will look upon the slightest hiccup, the slightest little barrier as a failure if they can't get past it immediately. And then others will look upon that barrier as an opportunity. The mindset is such a huge
So running toward problems instead of away from them.
Yeah, running towards the fire.
Okay. So you'll hear really successful people talk about that.
Yeah.
I've heard it because I listen to a lot of successful people all the time, trying to figure out the right mindset.
Yeah.
And it's usually the exact opposite of what your teachers would tell you, or someone, or your mother would tell you. Right. Sorry, Happy Mother's Day. but you're wrong. No, and you are because the problems are where the opportunities lie.
Yeah, absolutely.
The opportunities lie in the problems, and the things that everybody else is staying away from. They're staying away from it because it's scary to them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can go in without the fear and run toward the problems to solve them, and have faith that you are smart enough and will surround yourself with enough good people and resources, and there's tons of resources out there at your fingertips in the world. We talk about how to get at some of those resources in the book as well.
Yeah.
Then you can solve those problems, and you will be the one who does it. Not anyone else, right? And if you can keep doing that your whole life, then imagine where you will be.
Yeah.
So the trick is to stop, and I think you start to view the world a lot differently. I know I did when that clicked, and that became something I realized I was doing, is shying away from problems, shying away from fear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can start picking up on that and going toward those problems, your fear will start to alleviate. And I was trying to think, right now, I'm trying to think, what are the problems I have that I'm shying away from? Where's my fear? And that's a great exercise to do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And then go toward those problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I probably need to step back and evaluate this afternoon and see where my opportunities lie, where my problems lie. But I think I have less of them right now because I've really gone after a lot of those problems and fears. And they don't really feel like problems or fears anymore. They feel like opportunities.
Right.
So I think you start to see them much differently. They turn into
Train
opportunities.
yourself to look at things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm just a small town boy from Shelby, North Carolina, and somehow I'm here with a Brit from across the pond, who's a friend of mine, Robert Ashford, and a great writer, and I've had a ton of experiences in my life. I've been very fortunate and blessed, but I've had a fair amount of adversity also. that I've overcome, and I still carry that chip on my shoulder, in a sense, and I don't want to use it in a bad way, but I think those things can be used in a good way to fight the fear, the situations that involve fear, and adversity. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not about the size of the dog. Is that what it is? The fight. It's the size of the fight and the dog.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the amount of fight in the dog. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I mean, and we were talking about that movie, The Founder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, Ray Kroc was not portrayed as the greatest guy in there. All right. I mean, it didn't make any judgments, but just some of the morality issues he did not have problems with those, okay? And not that he was wholly immoral, he wasn't, but anyway, point being, he was persistent. That's what you can, that's a takeaway from that movie. He was ridiculously persistent.
Yeah.
So if you can stay persistent, you will break through those opportunities. And I've been able to do that at different stages in my life. Although, if I have a problem, still, if I have a problem, it's recognizing success or accomplishments, or that I'm there, because I don't feel comfortable getting comfortable, or patting myself on the back because I have other things to accomplish.
Well, certainly things like fear, that's something we can talk about in another episode.
Sure.
It's such a huge subject that you can't really condense it into a few minutes.
No.
Easily, anyway.
No. So this show and this podcast is certainly about business, entrepreneurship, law, and
mindset.
But it's not about kind of a garbage success guru podcast, because that's, not what I'll ever be. And
this isn't like I was homeless last year and now I make $1 million a month.
No, and this is how you can do it.
Something like that.
This is about, really, how can you structurally set up a business to be successful?
Yeah.
Or structure your life to be successful within another business. What have I found that works for me? Or to be more successful. How about that?
Yeah,
which is going to be tailored to each individual person.
Using real world examples.
That's correct.
From your own experiences.
Yeah. And not shying away from the big stuff, which is really everything begins and ends with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're in control of that.
Taking responsibility.
So not paying attention to the fact that everything ends and begins in your own mind is a big pitfall.
Yes.
Because that's where you have to do the work.
That's right, yeah. You're the one that created it.
Yeah.
You can change it if it doesn't work.
So those are the uncomfortable things that I think we'll also deal with, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is LawyerGreg and the Rockstar Lawyer podcast, and we'll be coming to you at least every week.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
I'd love to be able to tell you, be a rockstar lawyer in Japanese. I just learned that earlier today, but I've already forgotten it. So be a rockstar lawyer in Germany, Japan, and the U.S., which is where our listenership apparently is. And man, I love Japan. I want to go to Japan. But again, I love Tokyo. It's a lot of fun. We're going to go do some talks in Tokyo.
I've never been there, but I would love to go.
We're going to go do some Tokyo talks. We're going to go. Let's just go. After we've been doing the podcast for 6 months a year, we're going to go. Okay?
That's the Japanese.
Rokasuta Nobengoshi Neneru. Rokasuta Nobengoshi Neneru. That means be a rockstar lawyer in Japanese. I'll get to you, Germany, shortly, okay? But, we need to go there. We're going to come there, and we're going to put out on Snapchat and everywhere else that we're coming and where we're going to be. And we're just going to set up a live feed, and we're going to talk and answer questions and talk to people. We're going to do that.
Walk around the streets.
After
of
we've done the
Tokyo.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Peace and love.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. That's pretty cool. What do you think?
I liked it.
Just hit finish.